play.
You want to give it a go?
And here we are with the Captain Square minigame, essentially a series of puzzle battles. We briefly saw this in the chapter proper, but now we're going to go through the whole thing before we even have the opportunity to save our progress at this. Later in the chapter, you do get an item that allows you to save your progress and makes re-attempting levels much less of a hassle. A lot of these are pure trial and error to figure out what does work and what doesn't. I'm gonna let you in on this, like half of Captain Square's moves are just absolutely terrible. Spinning Star should not be used at all. Tachyon Sword is very, very situational. It actually comes in clutch in the last fight, or is at least decently helpful there. For the most part, you want to use Pion Bob and Space Fish. Plasma Ball might be situationally helpful, but I'm not a huge fan of it. Quark Sword is way too unreliable. That first fight, those enemies, they are not threatening at all. This fight as well, these things, not that threatening. Ideally, you're able to just go into the bottom corner there and use Pion Bomb to take out most of them. Sometimes they'll interrupt you with their suicide headbutts, and that's just something you gotta deal with. The slow but reliable way to take this stage out of the picture is to just repeatedly use Space Phage. Now, coming up into the next fight is probably the first point where people have trouble with the Captain Square minigame, because it requires a non-traditional solution. You can win this through a straight use of force, but the best thing to do is just stay in place at the start of the fight and either plasma charge or just pass or rotate in place until eventually these things start using Aqua Flare on you. That red flame in the bottom right corner there, that can only be hurt by the water fields. Now, the Quark Sword does have the ability to kill it, but it only does 1 damage at a time, and you have to specifically bait it into walking into it, because the massive charge time of that attack means that it will be able to move before you fire it off, which either means it'll miss, or it'll get in your face and use Petra Flare and petrify you, thus ending your run immediately. Once you know that you can just wait until Aqua Flares come out, then you can just start throwing out Pion Bombs. The one blue flame in the corner there should wander into the range of the attack, and that takes care of this one. One thing to note about Captain Square that's a little bit annoying is there's slightly random elements to some of the stages where enemies will appear in somewhat random locations and have somewhat random charge times on their charge bars. This fight is pretty consistent. This one has a gimmick. That purple... crap, I lost track of the name. But that purple alien there, that is the leader, and she has a special ability where when she takes any damage, she will heal everybody in range, including herself, but every amount of HP that she heals then gets dealt to her in damage, and also inflicts a number of random status ailments, including petrification. As you can see, I got, like, the best result possible here, and she just petrified herself, letting me win the fight immediately. This can go a little bit worse. Another option is to use Quark Sword on her repeatedly, but Pion Bomb is my preferred one, since if you damage the ones around her, that healing that she does ends up affecting her negatively. This one's really annoying, and I actually got one of the better formations for this fight. This is another one where the enemy's somewhat random locations can cause a problem. The way these guys work is they have infinite horizontal range within, I believe it is a 3-tile range, so the tile they're standing on, the tile above them, the tile below them, they'll hit you for about 30 damage and turn all those tiles into electric tiles. So the best way to deal with this fight, if you don't want to get electric-tiled to death, is to just get underneath whatever is the lowest number you can get underneath, and just repeatedly spam Pion Bomb to thin the herd, and hopefully you'll make it through this. One nice thing is they have a chance to get distressed by Pion Bomb, which will cause them to turn away from you and interrupt their turns, which is pretty helpful. That fight can go really badly if you don't get it on lock right away. Saturn, this one's a freebie, basically. These enemies do not move, and they have a very specific range. They are able to counter you, but as long as you stay more than 2 spaces away and don't stand directly diagonal to them, they will not attack you at all. So you can just repeatedly space phage them, or use Plasma Ball on them to get a electrical tile, which they are vulnerable to underneath them, and that'll allow you to take care of this pretty easily. This is another one where they have slightly randomized locations, but it's not a big deal in this one, so I just stand in far corners from them, don't stand directly diagonal to them, and just repeatedly space phage. This fight is a no-brainer. But yeah, the one before this one, that one can go really badly, and it is kind of annoying when you've got these situations where you win these fights cleanly. It doesn't really show you what the process is like for learning how these things work, but trust me, if I didn't do the previous fight in the way that I elected to go through, it would have gone bad in a hurry. But don't worry, we will see some stages that put a bit more pressure onto me, and it's at this point at Uranus, this is where we get the first legitimately difficult one, even if you have like a relatively solid approach. These yellow blocks, they are resistant to most of your attacks. Pion Bomb will not one-shot them, and they have a massive AoE. I want to say it's like a 3x4 range that they'll hit with an electrical attack and create electrical tiles. Obviously, the electrical tiles heal them, and also, they tick super fast. They will, like, absolutely annihilate you when you're charging attacks, so my initial strategy for this fight was to just get as many as I could caught in the range of a Pion Bomb, but that just wasn't working out, because, as you can see, charge attacks take too long for Captain Square to go off, and they heal repeatedly. So the reworked approach I took is I just want to work my way around the edges. I'll use Space Phage to blast my way around all of the electrical squares that are blocking the bug that is the leader of this group. The bug is basically immune to every single attack you can use to him, but he is not immune to fire tiles. So what you need to do is you either need to open up a path that lets you get to him, or open up a path that lets him get to you. Basically the same thing, but it just depends on who starts moving first, which, depending on the attacks you're using, he's probably going to do. Before you get a chance to move, like if I Space Phage that thing out of the way, before my turn comes back around, the bug's gonna start moving towards me, and then get him in the range of a supernova, get him on a fire tile. The fire tile will tick in due time and kill him. The rough thing about this fight is that, and this is one of the fortunate things, is that these squares don't move too much, is that you are basically guaranteed to take damage just due to the constant generation of shock or lightning tiles, which makes getting HP back pretty rough. Plasma Charge is the only reliable way you have to restore HP, because using the Tachyon Strike obviously requires you to get in close, which means you're open to being hit with their AoE attack, as well as being put on more electric tiles. Sorry, my word's starting to feel... Geez, is that a 3x5? No, I think that was... What is that? Is that like a 5x5? Oh, jeez. Yeah, these things are pretty nasty. But once you're able to get the supernova off and put the bug on it, you've basically won this fight. The fire tile damage should tick before anything else gets a chance to hurt you. That attack does so little damage. As you can see, he has a counterattack. He also has a weak attack. I think he can do something a bit more dangerous if you get, like, directly next to him. But I avoided doing that, so who knows, who knows? I mean, somebody in the audience probably knows, and let us know if you are willing to share it. Now, thankfully, the next stage is not as bad as that one was. This stage is very simplistic. One of these stars is the leader. You just need to go up and whack it with Cork Sword, and you win. These things can hit pretty hard. Their Starburst attack has a huge AoE and hits multiple times. If a bunch of those hits get through, you can be in some serious hurt. But thankfully, like multi-hit attacks for you, it has pretty low accuracy. Cork Sword doesn't do a lot of damage to them, but they only have 2 HP, so it's enough to take them out. They are immune to damage tiles, so don't try to get them that way. That's not going to work out. Very simple stage after the previous ones. The final stage, though, Pluto, this one's annoying as hell. It's not necessarily difficult, but it is off the back of a couple of fairly difficult stages, and obviously if you lose at this point, without the ability to save your progress, you have to redo the entire session of Captain Square again, or redo Captain Square from the beginning. The way these guys work is they're basically the same as the ones that we fought in Stage 2. Some are tougher, some are absorb damage tiles, but the general flow of this battle is as their turn gauges start going up, they will slowly begin to close in, and they have the ability to blow themselves up, and them exploding does about 130 to 150 damage to you. So if you're under 150 HP, you're screwed. You're going to die to that. So you definitely want to plasma charge whenever you're getting close to that threshold. The nice thing is that, as you expect, when they explode, they take themselves out of the picture. That kills one of them. So it is actually a valid strategy to walk up to some of these guys and bait them into exploding just to kill them, but there is no guarantee that you're not just going to get headbutted repeatedly, so it's honestly better to just park yourself in one of these corners and let most of these things come to you. One nice thing about Space Phage is that it pierces through enemies. That can also be detrimental because obviously there's one standing right in front of me and it might be nice to take him out before he blows up, like he's about to do so right now. So I see that he's about to explode. I decided to start preemptively charging up my plasma charge so that I can heal off any damage he does. One nice bit of luck is that he actually missed. Another nice thing, well, not necessarily a nice thing, but a thing that helps us out a little bit here is that these guys have a tendency to turn around or turn to not face you, and enemies kind of get screwed over with being turned, because it takes... Like, for the enemy, moving and turning are essentially the same action. It takes them just as much time to turn from their charge gauge as it does to move, which is why moves that rotate the enemy in the SFC version are really powerful, because they're a lot more consistent there. They're less consistent in this version of the game. But yeah, as you can see, the strategy basically becomes the same at this point. I'm just space phasing anything that is in range of it, waiting for some of these guys to come in and attempt to blow themselves up, and healing when necessary. This is the situation I mentioned earlier where Tachyon Sword actually can come in pretty clutch. It allows you to deal light damage to the enemy, get some HP back. Tachyon Sword does around like 25 to 30 damage, so you get 30 damage out, get 30 HP back. That's pretty helpful in my opinion, and it allows you to keep yourself topped off and deal with any explosions that come in, as well as giving you an option that won't lock you in place when the explosion happens. Heals you up, and just generally leaves you in pretty good positioning. It's not great, but it definitely does a good job at mitigating the damage that is coming out, and at this point, I've actually pretty much said everything there is to say about Captain Square. There is no reward for completing this minigame. It is purely for the satisfaction of doing it, especially if you do it without the ability to save your progress. So, you are under no obligation to do this minigame. The HD version does have a Steam achievement tied to playing this minigame, but it is purely just you have to start playing it and you get an achievement. With that all said and done, I will dip out here, let the gameplay finish, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!
Tachyon Sword! No! Ha ha ha! Plasma charge! No! Plasma charge! Space stage! Victory!
Whoa, it actually cleared it. Well, okay then. Looks like I've got some competition.